Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about zodiac sign compatibility between Pisces and another Pisces. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant for both people. When you have two people of the same zodiac sign, it could be, I see this as neutral. You could have some negative and then some positive along with it. On the positive side, you could have a mutual admiration society for each other. Pisces can be very benevolent, compassionate. Both of them may like each other for the fact that they will often help those that are less fortunate, such as the oppressed, the impoverished, the homeless, the hungry, and could be self-sacrificing. They could really give of themselves to each other and really can epitomize selflessness. They could do very well together in some charitable cause, something where they're giving and where they're providing or helping those that are less fortunate. And the thing about it, though, is on the negative side, sometimes they're similar. That same attributes they may possess. They may work against each other. Now, for example, Pisces. I think the main thing is Pisces can be somewhat ambiguous and ambivalent. Pisces can have a difficult time in making decisions. So it could be difficult to have one assist the other in this department, give that other one that inspiration, that spark to do so. And the thing also is that Pisces have the proclivity to dream. A lot of times they're very much strongly dreamers, fantasizing, and they don't often act upon what they're actually what they really want to do. They could be very idealistic. But the thing is, when you have the dreams, you have to try to, it's good to try to make them manifest into reality if it's something positive about them and that would work that's something positive and productive. And when you don't have either one, really neither sign really is known for an abundance of persistence either. That can make things somewhat difficult. Now, also, though, they may share some common interests. Pisces people can often be interested in the spiritual and or metaphysical, and these people can collaborate perhaps on some kind of project connected with it. They both have Pisces can have vivid imagination. So if these people can make their imagination manifest into reality, they could work together perhaps on like a fiction fantasy novel, which would be a novel idea, of course, or perhaps some kind of creative work, even some kind of innovation or invention, because they could really come up with some good ideas when they do put their minds to it, and when they do decide to really act on what they dream and fantasize about. Now, also another problem is that a problem with Pisces and Pisces is that two Pisces can be impressionable. So if you have one person that's in a melancholy mood or feeling despondent, it might negatively rub off on the other. On the positive side, if you have one of them that's in a more jubilant, buoyant mode, then hey, it could rub off positively on the other person as well. And another thing too is that Pisces, I understand all signs can have some propensity toward recreational drugs and alcohol, but Pisces, I believe, has a little bit more toward that, being ruled, having Neptune as one of the rulers. So the problem is if there's one person that's involved in this, then, and if the other person isn't, it can negatively rub off on the other person that is, and I think that's a danger as far as this combination goes. So that is something just to keep in mind as far as Pisces and another Pisces. But as I stated before, that all signs can have a propensity toward that, but Pisces, I think, a little bit more on average. So it's just something I wanted to mention in this. And both these Pisces can be somewhat timid and submissive, and rather passive, the one thing these two won't have to generally worry about, unless there's some contraindicators in the chart, which there could be, there's something where they don't have to worry about as far as confrontation. Both can be very non-combative and don't want to make waves. So it's usually could be very peaceful and tranquil union. Both of these people, being introverted, can be strongly about introversion, introspection. They both may thrive on their solitude and seclusion. So that is something else to look at. And Pisces can be very sensitive and emotional. So the problem is, even though it could be generally a non-combative, non-quarrelsome situation, there's sometimes they may incline towards some irrational behavior, and they may make decisions on their emotions, which is not always good. If the intuition can sometimes work strong and can provide good results, but at the same time, if you're acting sometimes strongly on emotion, that could often lead to a rash decision or action. So that is something else to look at. Now, another thing too is that when you look at the Pisces, two Pisces together, is that both can show very strong unbridled compassion toward each other. And Pisces generally is not malicious. They really have very good intentions. And if you have two Pisces, they can have very good intentions toward each other. As far as in the bedroom goes, so to speak, that they both may seek to fulfill each other's fantasies in the bedroom, but both may be very emotionally needy, and that is something to look at in as far as this connection goes. Neither one will have a problem as far as the emotional depth of the people, of each one being, both of them being Pisces, but the only thing is that sometimes when you have two people being very emotionally needy, that could cause maybe some difficulties, and Pisces does like to have their space from time to time because they are about their solitude and seclusion, but at the same time they can maybe enjoy that together. Well, anyway, it's also important to look at the aspect, if any, that is made between the energies of these people, as this could indicate perhaps a little better compatibility than otherwise indicated, or maybe about the same. So anyway, in many instances, you'll have a conjunction aspect take place between the energies of these people. Let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Pisces at 8 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Pisces at 6 degrees. Well, that would form a conjunction aspect, which could be intensifying. I see this as neutral. And also, given the sign, they are neutral by sign being of the same sign. So that is something to consider. So you have the neutral on both ends with the aspect and by sign. So, and it's also very important to look at, not just by the aspect, but by the sign, as far as a full extensive compatibility or synastry astrology report, because when you have something neutral, you want to look at the whole chart to kind of be that tiebreaker to see if there's a lot of very good aspects, predominantly good aspects, or negatives, so you can kind of really look deeper into the compatibility between the two people. Well, anyway, you could also have a semi-sextile aspect take place between the energies of these people. Let's say, for example, one person has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Pisces at 0 degrees, and the other person has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Pisces at 29 degrees. Well, I consider that good but not great, slightly positive or auspicious, because a semi-sextile is a minor aspect. It's like the sextile, but it's modified and it's not as strong. And keep in mind, they are neutral by sign, so you got to factor that into the equation. But with the semi-sextile, you might have a little bit more harmony and a little bit more flow to the union, to the connection, than otherwise indicated. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for zodiac sign compatibility between Pisces and another Pisces. And that'll conclude this zodiac sign compatibility series, and stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about astrological transits. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.